Hello, hello, welcome everyone. Good evening. We are here on Wine Down Wednesday. I'm your host, Amelia Fortes, and if this is your first time joining, welcome. Wine Down Wednesday is a show that happens every week on Wednesday nights, and we talk about all things self-love, plus I give you your self-love astrology weather report. If you're coming back as a returner, welcome back. Thank you so much for being a fan of the show. We have been on a break for most of September, so we are back with a spooky new look. Halloween, for those of you who don't know, is like literally my favorite ever. I love all things spooky. I love dressing up. I love the makeup. I love the autumn weather. I love horror movies, the whole thing. And in this pandemic, the thing that I'm going to miss the most is being able to go to haunted houses and scary things. But that's okay because we can bring all the spookiness to you. So as you are popping on live, please leave a comment and say hello so that I know that you're here. And if you're watching this on the replay, please comment a hashtag replay so I know that you enjoyed the episode. And if you're watching this on YouTube, as it's uploaded after this live stream, please remember to subscribe and to hit that notification bell so you can be notified of all the awesome self-love content that we put out. So tonight's episode is really going to be about how to magnetize the perfect lovers. It's really going to be about how to reclaim your inner radiance so that you can magnetize the perfect lovers, opportunities, friends, clients, partners, but mostly lovers. We're going to talk about relationships tonight. And this is a concept that I go into a lot more depth in my signature group coaching program called Radiance, which I'm actually currently running that program right now. And I just taught them this concept. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a taste of this concept that we go much deeper into in the paid program, but I'll give you a little taster tonight for free, on the house as your Halloween season present. But before we go deeply into that topic, as always, every week, I like to give you a self-love astrology weather report. So I hope you haven't been missing too much of the weather reports while we've been on a break for the last 3 weeks, but hashtag self-care. Everyone needs a break sometimes. And I had actually been running Wine Down Wednesday nonstop all throughout quarantine, but we're back with a vengeance. And that all being said, hey, Jeremy, hey, Jane, hey, Dave. So glad to have you here. Again, as you're popping on, say hello. And if you're catching the replay, give us a hashtag replay. So anyway, diving into your self-love astrology weather report. So I'm just going to touch on some of the main themes, and I'm just looking at my notes here. So big thing that happened this weekend was Pluto stationed direct. And what that means is it ended its nearly about 6-month-long retrograde. Now, if you know anything about the planet Pluto, it's all about that deep, introspective, intense, transformational stuff. It also deals with the shadow stuff. It deals with our secrets, our unconscious stuff. So for the last 6 months, you've probably really been feeling it. And as I've described to you before or explained to you before, retrogrades, I always like to think of the first 2 letters in retrograde are R-E. So it's an opportunity to reassess, reflect, recalibrate, redesign, review. And so if Pluto is in retrograde, it's an opportunity to reflect, reassess, redesign, recalibrate, review all of that deep transformational stuff. And it's no mistake that that's been happening because globally with the pandemic, with the upcoming United States election, with all the social justice movements happening. It's really been an upheaval of deep, intense, unconscious work, shadow work, and things like that. And so Pluto stationing direct, which happened this weekend, you might have felt a little bit of a relief from all of that deep, intense work. I mean, we're not out of the woods, but you might have felt like a little bit of a lift. And if not, don't worry. Essentially, it's just a great moment to pause and look back at the last 6 months. So Pluto went retrograde on April 25th, and it stationed direct on October 4th, which was a few days ago. And so it's kind of like, you know how like when you're flying in a plane and there's the takeoff and then the flight and then the landing. So the flight is kind of like when you're coasting. So with Pluto stationing direct, it's almost like we just landed. And so we want to reassess and see how our flight was. So it'd be a really great time to look back at the lessons that you've been learning and the themes that have been happening in your life for the last 6 months, especially those really deep, intense lessons, emotional shadow stuff going on. And you can look at that individually, and you can also look at that globally, right? Like, what have we been learning as a world with this global pandemic, this upheaval of just all kinds of deep stuff going on? So that's the one thing that I wanted to say. And speaking of review and retrogrades and reassessment, if you didn't know, we have another Mercury retrograde coming up next week on Wednesday, October 14th, I believe, or October 13th. Either way, we are currently in pre-shadow phase. And Mercury retrograde is one of those things that people tend to be afraid of. But I like to say, don't think of these astrological influences as something to be afraid of or fear or worry. They're all opportunities to look at different themes that are going on in your life. So this Mercury retrograde is going to be happening in Scorpio, but since that's happening next week, I'll dive much deeper into that and the themes of that next week. So for this week, think about the Pluto stationing direct and looking back at the last 6 months of your life and really taking that time. Like, it seems like something super trivial and like little that is like, oh, whatever, but really taking the time to sit and reflect and reassess is so, so valuable. In our society, in a lot of our societies, especially Western societies, we are so conditioned to go, 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 and get the next thing and the next thing and the next thing that we lose a lot of the treasure and wisdom that can come from just being still and slowing down and sitting and reflecting. So if you're a busy mom or super busy, I totally understand. It's like, okay, who has time to reflect? But hey, look, next time you're spending 5 minutes on the John, or even if you got 2 minutes to yourself, just really make it a point to sit down and look back at the last 6 months and, you know, not even just reflect, but also really celebrate, you know, all the things that you have accomplished. And I know that it might seem hard to think, what the hell am I going to celebrate? The last 6 months have been awful, certainly on a global scale. But that's the beauty of these self-love practices, is to really take the time and just see, you know, what lessons and what wisdom is there for you. Also, it'll be really great to do that towards the end of this week, because towards the end of this week, the moon will be moving into Cancer. It'll be a great time to do that introspective work. I'm just looking at my calendar here. Yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the moon is in Cancer, and it will also be having the effects of the waning crescent moon, which means we're gearing up for a new moon next week. A new moon is about kind of that springtime, setting intentions, starting over. So really this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, is a super juicy, fertile time to reflect on the last 6 months and really think about the intentions that you want to set for this next month coming up, this next lunar cycle. What worked, what didn't work, what are you letting go of, what are you bringing with you? What lessons have you learned? And that can be in terms of relationships, work stuff, family stuff, kids stuff, all the things. And as always, as I say, these are all self-love practices. So really release perfection. Do these things with gentleness, compassion, kindness, and always self-love. And if you have any questions about any of that, feel free to leave it in the comments or go to my website, send me an email, @AmeliaFortes.com, and my Instagram is @TheAmeliaFortes. So you can also DM me there. Okay, so that is all for our self-love astrology report. So for tonight's topic, again, we are going to be talking about how to reclaim your inner radiance so that you can magnetize the perfect opportunities, lovers, friends, clients, all the things to you. Now, this is a really great topic for you if you find yourself feeling super frustrated that you keep attracting the wrong people or being attracted to the wrong people, whether they're unavailable or abusive, not very nice, something's off, too boring, too something. Again, we're going to be focusing on relationships, but you can also think about that in terms of work opportunities, job opportunities, or maybe you're not magnetizing anything and you're just kind of like, am I broken? Is my magnet broken? So that's what tonight is really about, how to reclaim your inner radiance, that inner magnet that will draw all the right things to you. So before we get into it, let's just do a quick cheers. It is Wine Down Wednesday. After all, we are in October, and tonight I am drinking the blood of my ex-lovers. So let me know what you're drinking tonight. Cheers. Okay, so when I think of how to magnetize the perfect lovers, opportunities, friends, clients, etc., I think of one of my favorite quotes, which I use as the foundation for a lot of my teachings. And it's actually the quote that's on my current Facebook cover, but it's a quote by Mark Nepo. And he says, "The flower doesn't dream of the bee. The flower blossoms and the bee comes." So I'll say that again. The flower doesn't dream of the bee. The flower blossoms and the bee comes. Right? So what I hear with that is flowers aren't out there walking on their legs, searching for the bees to come to the yard and pollinate them. The flowers are blossoming and blooming in their natural, magnetizing radiance. And the bees come to them and then they get pollinated. So the lesson that I get from that quote is, in order to truly magnetize the perfect lovers, opportunities, clients, friends, all the things, is you really have to be your truest, most authentic, best self. And by being your best self, that will naturally magnetize everything that is meant for you. And if you're not being authentic or not being your best self, likely you will be attracting things that you don't want. So in order to attract the things that you do want, or the things that are best for you and meant for you, you've got to be your best self. So how do I be my best self, right? Well, that is something there's a lot of lessons there. That is one of the foundational things in what I teach. I teach people how to magnetize their lover by being their best self. And I do that using a tool that I developed called your self-love blueprint. So here's a sample self-love blueprint right here. This is actually my self-love blueprint. So I developed this tool, and this is what I use. We go very much into depth in this in my signature program, Radiance. And so there's all different, I teach my participants how to fill this out, where to get all the information, and also what everything means. And where we'll be focusing on tonight for how to magnetize your perfect lover is going to be here in the section where it says my Venus is. So if you remember, this is mine, Leo, and it's a fire sign. So that's how you, that's one of the ways that you can be your most truest, best, authentic self. So you can blossom and bloom and not go chasing the bees, but you attract the bees, the lovers, the friends, the partners, the clients, the opportunities, the jobs, the gigs, all the things by being your best self. So you're like, okay, Amelia, so how do I find out my Venus and what does it all mean? So like I said, we go into much more depth in this in Radiance, but I'm giving you a little bit of a taster. So I'm actually going to teach you how to find out what your Venus is if you don't already know. It's part of your astrological birth chart. And if you're new to that, your astrological birth chart is the chart based on the astrology, the cosmos at the time and location of your birth. Time, date, and location. So you will need to know your date of birth, your time of birth, and your location. If you're in the United States, you need to know city and state. If you're not in the if you were not born in the United States, you would need to know country and city or whatever, because different countries, not every country has states, but you get what I'm saying. Time, date, and location. So I'm going to show you how to do that. If you don't have time to do it along with me, don't worry. This is available as a replay right here on Facebook, and it's also available, it'll be available in a few hours after we stop live streaming on YouTube. Let me just throw up my YouTube channel. So if you go on YouTube and search The Amelia Fortes, you'll be able to find my channel. If you're watching this on the channel, hey, thank you for watching. So I lost my train of thought. Okay, yes. So now I'm going to teach you how to find your Venus. Okay, so basically you're going to open up your browser and you're going to go to this website right here. And so it's astro-charts.com. So go to astro-charts.com and you're going to see this page. So it says, welcome, to the home of beautiful astrology charts. You're going to put your name, your city, state, and country that you were born in, your date of birth, month, date, year, and then your time of birth, AM or PM, and then you're going to click Create Chart. Okay? So you can do this along with me. And then once you have your chart, I'm only speaking slow just in case you're doing this along with me, you are going to have a chart that looks kind of like, where's my chart? I downloaded my chart, but now I need to find it. Did I download it? No, I didn't. Okay, so I'm just going to share my tab here. So you are going to have a chart that looks like this. So it looks like this, and then you're going to look for Venus, which is this symbol right here. So it's the female symbol. And then you're going to look to see what sign it's in. So if you remember from my self-love blueprint, my Venus is in Leo. So see, the Venus is here and it's in the sign of Leo. If you're not sure, just based on looking at this, you can even scroll down just a little bit further and it will literally tell you. So you see here, this is the symbol for Venus. And then it says Venus in Leo. Don't worry about that. That's for more advanced. But for the purpose of tonight, we're just going to look at the sign. So Venus is in Leo. And then the thing that you want to find out is what element is that sign. So I already know that Leo is a fire sign, but if you don't know what element your Venus is, you can easily Google what element is blank. So I would Google what element is Leo, and it would tell me, Google would tell me it's a fire sign. So I'll just go through all of them real quick. Cancer, water; Gemini, air; Taurus, earth; Aries, fire; Pisces, water; Aquarius, air; Capricorn, earth; Sagittarius, fire; Scorpio, water; Libra, air; Virgo, earth; Leo, fire. Okay? So again, if that was really fast, don't worry, you can catch this on the replay. And so essentially, how to magnetize your perfect lover. Yes, Jeremy, Venus and Pisces, awesome. I would love for you, as you discover what your Venus is, to pop it in the comments like Jeremy did. So Pisces is a water sign, and Leo is my Venus, which is a fire sign. So now what will help you determine, it's like, okay, how do I make the link from my sign to how to magnetize my perfect lover? So think of your Venus as your inner flower, right? Back to that Mark Nepo quote of the flower doesn't dream of the bee, the flower blossoms and the bee comes. So instead of trying to chase these lovers and dates and opportunities and friends and clients and going out there and chasing, think of your Venus as this flower inside of you that naturally blooms in a very natural way. And it's the way that it blooms that attracts your perfect lover. And the way that it blooms is related to, yes, she's giving you some Radiance program teachings, exactly. The way that it blooms is related to your element, the element that that sign is in. So again, like Jeremy is saying, I do go much into depth in this in Radiance. Now, Radiance is a 4-month self-love journey where you learn how to create passion and purpose using your unique self-love blueprint. So that blueprint that I showed you earlier, we go into depth. With Venus, we go into depth. There's a whole worksheet about it, right? So I'm just giving you a little bit of a taste just so you can have an awareness around it. But if you desire going much deeper, definitely reach out to me about how you can do that. So the way your inner flower blooms is the gifts of the element, right? So what does that mean? My Venus is in Leo. Leo is a fire sign. So my inner flower, my inner radiance is fiery. My inner flower is a fire flower. So the way that I magnetize and attract people, lovers, opportunities is with my inner fire. And the benefits of fire is hype, it's passion, it's creativity, it's drive, it's transformation. And so that is how I magnetize people to me. So when I dove much deeper into this concept so I could magnetize the right people to me, I had to give myself permission to be hype, be excited, be creative, be a little bit all over the place, be passionate. And, you know, fire is also characterized by anger a lot of times. So give myself permission to be pissed off. Like, don't be afraid of my anger. Don't be afraid of the things that piss me off. It is that fire and passion that magnetizes people to me. And when I think about my lovers, you know, it is that passion and that all over the placeness and that excitement and that spontaneity that magnetize them to me. At least the right ones, right? Like the wrong ones were magnetized by other things. And maybe I shouldn't even use the word magnetized, but that's kind of what I want you to have an awareness about is, am I trying to use the wrong tools to call people in, to call in the one, right? Okay, awesome. So Gabby, Venus in Scorpio. And so Scorpio is a water sign. So when I talk about water, and I'll talk about that next because we have Jeremy watching Venus is in Pisces, which is also a water sign. So for water signs, your inner flower is a water flower. You magnetize and attract the right lovers by being watery and by using the gifts of your inner water. And so water signs and water as an element in general is really characterized by being emotionally intelligent, being deep, being intuitive, being nurturing, being relationshipy, just being very nurturing and loving. Like, think about water in its highest expression. It's nourishing. It's literally what we need to survive, right? Earth is 70% water. Our bodies are 70% water. So giving yourself permission as a Venus in a water sign to be nurturing, be vulnerable, be emotional, use your emotional intelligence to magnetize people. That is how you will magnetize the right people. And the ways that sometimes this can go wrong is like if a water Venus, water inner flower, is trying to magnetize by being fiery. That's just not going to work. Yes, Jeremy. Water, 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 water. What? It's not going to work. It's not allowing yourself to be who you really are. It's not allowing yourself to fully embody your unique self-love blueprint. And so what I want to invite you all to do is really use this as an opportunity to love yourself on an even deeper level. So let's touch on air and earth as well, because those of you watching the replay might be one of the other two. So if your Venus is an air sign, then your inner flower is an air flower. And you naturally magnetize your lovers and all the things with your inner air. So when I think about the gifts of air, I think of light, breezy, airy-fairy, like almost majestic and lyrical and easygoing and social. Also, though, a big gift of air, the air element, is intellect and ideas and socializing and networking. So if your inner Venus is air, then you will naturally magnetize the right lovers to you because of your socializing, your chattiness, your talkativeness, your friendliness, but also your ideas, your intellect. And your easygoing, easy breeziness is a way that people will be magnetized to you. Another thing that popped in when I think of magnetize, right? You walk into a garden and let's say there's all these different flowers, but then there's like that one flower that really catches your eye, and it's like, and then you're magnetized to it because you see it in the far corner and you're like, wait, I need a closer look. I want to know more about this flower. And so it's like, what are the things that draw you to it? Is it the colors? Is it the shape? Is it the size? Is it the way that it's growing or like, standing tall in the garden? So it's that same concept with your Venus, your inner radiance, your inner flower. It's that thing that has you naturally stand out, so you don't have to try. The only effort that I would invite you to do is to put consciousness on it so you can learn to accept it and be curious about it and dive deeper into it and allow yourself to naturally radiate in that way. And then so last but not least, talking about Earth. So that's Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. If your inner Venus, inner flower, is an Earth sign, then you naturally magnetize your perfect lovers or lover with your inner Earth. See, even just saying that, my inner Earth, it just sounds so soothing and grounded and stable and consistent. But groundedness is really the thing that sticks out for me. And also like pleasure, like especially Tauruses. Taurus is all about pleasure, especially pleasures of the body, right? Thinking of the body. And I think too, like with earth signs, it is attracting. So like if fire is attracting with their hype and their enthusiasm and their spontaneity, and water is attracting with their emotions and their intuition and their vulnerability, and air is attracting with their intellect and their ideas and their socialization, networky, talkative friendliness, earth is attracting with maybe sometimes often with their body, that being grounded, being this very like stable, mysterious creature that you just want to get closer to and find out more about. So yeah, those are the different things. And like I said, we go much deeper into it in Radiance, but I wanted to give you a little bit of a taste of the type of things that I teach in my programs, but also just things that you can implement right now, right? And so I hope this is helpful. So you basically, let's just do a quick recap. We magnetize the things that are right for us by being the best of our truest selves. And so I developed this whole entire self-love blueprint, and I'll show it to you again, to really embody and embrace all of who you are, how you do things, and how you relate to others. And so each of these things you can go so much more into depth on, but today we really just covered your inner Venus, which is one of the key things that you can look into to magnetize your perfect lover. And so really the takeaway that I have for you today is to magnetize your perfect lover. One, be your best self. Be the flower, not the bee. Don't be the flower thinking you need to get on your legs and go chasing the bees. Blossom, bloom, be your best self. Learn more about who you are and what makes you radiant and what makes you sparkle and shine and what makes you uniquely beautiful and awesome and amazing. And the more you focus on that, you will naturally magnetize what is meant for you. And if relationships, dating and relationships is something that you're currently struggling with, I definitely invite you. I have a free download on my website, and you can quickly go there by going to bit.ly/FFF download. And that is, all 3 F's are capital. It is case sensitive. But if you go there, you can download my self-love activation guide for dating and relationships. We don't go into Venus in that document, but we do go deeply into the 5 deceptions that block you from the love life you desire. And I developed these 5 deceptions, and I guarantee you any relationship problem that you're dealing with, I can put them into one of the 5 deceptions. I've tried it with tons of people, and I can always put them into one of the 5 deceptions. And so this download, I'm like, this download will go into each deception, what each one is all about, and also how to overcome that deception. So if you want a little bit of light self-love reading to learn more about yourself and just really see what's going on, I invite you to download that. And also, as some of you know, I have a podcast. There's a relationships episode on there. I believe it's episode 4. It's called Self-Love and Relationships. And we talk a lot about how to have an ideal partnership, how to attract the right people. And then there's also some journaling questions that you can do to take your learning even deeper. And then also, if you go to @AmeliaFortes.com/dating, and actually that's all lower cases. Like if you, hold on, let me fix that. Because if you put upper cases, I think it'll take you to the wrong place. And if you go to AmeliaFortes.com/dating, also all lower cases, there'll be a lot of free content there, videos, podcast episodes, blogs, all things dating and relationships. So you can start there for free content, but also if you want to work with me and work one-on-one with me or work in one of my group programs, definitely send me a message and let me know. But that was it tonight. Thank you so much, and welcome back, Wind Down Wednesday. We're here every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, and it's Thursday morning if you're on the other side of the world. But I hope you join us next week. All month, we're going to be talking about resurrecting your love life, and as always, your weekly self-love astrology report. So thank you so much for joining and watching today, and I will see you all next week. Cheers. Bye.